Join us as we journey back to 1995 and our trip to EPCOT, a place where imagination, innovation and adventure come alive. Remember those forgotten rides and times gone by. But folks, that's not all. We will bring you Disney's long forgotten zoo, Discovery Island, and Disney's Tricircle D farm and petting area. Welcome back to 1995, and today we find ourselves at EPCOT. Disney's vision in 1966 was a showcase for future living, a prototype for a city and transportation based on technology and innovation. EPCOT stands for Experimental City of the Future. However, this park never lived up to Disney's vision. It was completed almost 2 decades after his death, and in 1995 it was very much a theme park. We loved the approach into the park on the monorail, how it framed the spaceship Earth and put that iconic building first and foremost at the entrance. This park didn't really have any thrill rides. Maelstrom in Norway was as thrilling as it got. EPCOT had 2 discrete sections. Future World opened first and gave us a number of leisurely rides that did as much looking back at history as they did as looking forward to the future. These were leisurely and unlike any other rides that we'd seen previously. There was some technology showcased in the 2 semicircular innovation buildings behind Spaceship Earth, but it was hardly cutting edge. Yet we loved this park. I guess that was because it stimulated you, made you think a little bit about the world you lived in.
For instance, on your right is cacao, the plant source for chocolate. By growing coconuts next to the cacao and sweet potatoes beneath it, we call that intercropping. Growing 2 or more crops together in the same space at the same time. This saves space, fertilizer, and pesticides. If you've been noticing our sandy soil, it's great for crop growing, and it is full of nutrients in a small area like this aqua cell. On the color cover on our aqua cell, use the growth of algae, and also Cena is a legume, which, like the peanuts we saw earlier, takes nitrogen from the air and converts it into a natural fertilizer. And if you've seen the fruits of your labor lying around on the ground, you would appreciate our production or string greenhouse. In here, everything is grown vertically. Here at our pepper intensive care unit, we're studying what, if any, effect excessive calcium has on peppers.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beach Boys.
Second section of the park was World Showcase, and as the name suggests, it introduced guests to the cultures, food and customs of different parts of the world, with different countries all being set around the World Showcase Lagoon. Still in Future World, making our way to the World of Motion, which just happens to be Joanne's favourite ride.
Please keep your hands and arms inside your vehicle and remain seated while traveling. Thank you.
What was it? Ah! Hey, The ball.
That's a ball.
Why was it Joanne's favourite ride? It wasn't the story that it told. It wasn't the exhibits that you saw as you went along. No, she used to love the smell of oranges that you got on one section of the track as the car went round. Whereas I like looking at some of the cars when you actually got off the ride. Today we're going around World Showcase Lagoon clockwise via Mexico. The direction we went was always a bit of a debate. We used to enjoy eating at the various stalls as we went round the lagoon. These were more of an interpretation than an accurate representation of the food that was available in each country. We used to have different courses in each of the countries: tacos in Mexico, egg rolls in China, and pastries in France.
Mexico.
If you wanted an easy life, you could hop on one of the double-decker buses and shorten your journey, or you could take one of the 2 boat rides across the lagoon. After Mexico, it was round to Norway, with its staved church containing a set of Norwegian exhibits. Norway was home to the Maelstrom ride, which was about as wild as it got at EPCOT in 1995. Here the trolls sent you backwards into a North Sea storm. After Norway, you wended your way round to China and the wonders of China 360-degree cinema experience. There was also, if I remember, some nice gardens that you could wander through, which had some fountains and some ponds, and you got piped Oriental music as well as some incredible Chinese acrobats that used to perform. But the thing that we liked most, or at least I liked most about China, was I could pick up a very nice egg roll or stir-fried dish. Guessed it, the next country was Germany, where you could experience traditional German music whilst enjoying a lovely beer.
Time with the music. Now don't be shy, introduce yourself to the person next to you. Link arms, there you go. And go left and right and links and rechts. Jawohl, and while you're choking, we like to sing.
You want both? What do you want? What? Say what you want. What?
Both.
Well, which one? Say.
Both.
Chips.
Italy had a gold angel on top of its bell tower, strolling musicians in the restaurants, and audience participation in the telling of humorous folk stories. American Adventure, the home of the Liberty Inn, where you could get burgers, hot dogs and everything else that you expected, was also home to the Sons of Liberty, a colonial flute and drum band. In the Garden Theatre you could actually see the magical world of Barbie, which was a show, but there were also the character meet and greets, and they were all focused around the American adventure, so you could go from one character meet onto the next. Absolutely lovely if you're 2.5. We came to move. We actually found the autograph book, but for some unknown reason Molly wasn't interested in it these days. It's also debatable whether my taste in shirts has improved over the years or not.
Molly. They're good.
Japan had its replica 5-story pagoda and its iconic arch looking over the lagoon. Here you could actually go through a gallery of Japanese art. There was also a very nice shop where you could buy Japanese goods. But the thing I remember most here was the drummers. There was a set of drummers that used to perform on a regular basis, and they gave you a really good performance. Morocco was a demonstration of the architecture of Morocco, and you used to be able to see examples of Moroccan art, buy some Moroccan goods, or take in things like traditional belly dancing and musicians in the restaurants. And in the courtyards on a very regular basis there used to be music and dance going on. France gave us an impression of Paris with its iconic fountain and square and its iconic Eiffel Tower. And here you would find musicians which brought flavour of France to the promenade, and there was also, if I remember correctly, comedy street theatre that you could take in as you actually travelled around. You then went over the international gateway until you arrived in the United Kingdom. A troupe of comedy actors gave their interpretation of Shakespeare with some audience participation. You could also experience the Rose and Crown pub and dining and have another beer or some traditional British cuisine, not to mention that iconic Mary Poppins topiary. For some reason I don't seem to have captured any footage of Canada, and there you would have found the O Canada 360 degree experience where it feels as if you're flying through the Canadian landscape. As we went to go out of the park, Joanne got co-opted as a test dummy for a potential new ride. This was a simulation of flying on Aladdin's carpet, utilising a VR headset. This was really interesting as she got to experience a ride that, as far as we're aware, has never made it into one of the theme parks. It was then time to go back to the hotel, and a chance for one last reflection, looking back at Spaceship Earth, of what had been a truly tremendous day before we headed to the transportation centre to get on our bus to go back to the hotel. However, that doesn't end this vlog. One of the things that we particularly liked about Disney at this time was there was a lot more to do than just the theme parks. And one of the areas that we particularly like going around is some of the other hotels. And given that the transportation system from hotels to parks to hotels to hotels was all very good, we took advantage of it. So in this section of the vlog, you will see Disney's Fort Wilderness experience, the lodge, which is where we are now. We will then take a trip across to Discovery Island, and then on another day we went to the Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground, and specifically to the Tri-Circle Farm there. In 1995, the Fort Wilderness Lodge had only just opened, about 11 months prior to our visit. Fort Wilderness Lodge is classified as a moderate resort, and it's about 50% more than the hotel where we were staying, which was Dixie Landings. It's very much a rustic environment, inspired by the turn of the century National Park lodges, and it celebrates the great untamed wilderness. From here, you could get a boat across to Discovery Island, which was Disney's zoo. It had been open for 25 years before closing in 1999 and the animals being moved into Animal Kingdom.
Well, we've got lots more beautiful birds that are waiting to meet you, but before they do, I'd like to do Rainbow a little favor and tell you why he's an endangered species. Love you. Owls, whether or not they can turn their heads all the way around. What do you folks think about that? Think about that for a minute. If Magoo could turn his head all the way around, he'd only be able to do it once, because his head would fall off. He can, however, turn his head 3/4 of the way around, or 270 degrees. The reason he's able to do that is because owls have 14 bones or vertebrae in their neck. I know one. Would you guys like to meet him? Yeah. Good, because here comes Christine with a very intelligent raven named Fred. To some people, ravens, besides being very smart, ravens are also very quick on their feet. To demonstrate this, I'll need the help of a young volunteer who likes to play cat. Ready, Fred? All right. Let's have a hand for Fred. Now can you very short and very nice, Lucy. Most of the parrots that you'll see in our show today were pets that were donated. Like these guys know how to mimic sound. Parrots don't talk the way people do. They copy sounds they like. And we'll see if we can get Gucci to do some of his favorite sounds. How about this one, Gucci? You make it. Well, that was a little one. Let's do a better one than that. There we go. We got 2 out of it. His version of a cough. And sometimes Gucci likes to tell everybody that he's a good boy. Good boy. Pretty good, huh? Okay, Shay, anytime you want to chime right in, go right in. Okay, who agrees with Dick? It's a boy. Not your family, okay. All right, how about girl? Looks like the girls have it. Well, the answer is, I have no idea. Dick was right the first time. I tricked him into it. There's no real good way to tell just by looking at it. He's got that look like he might just explode any second, I swear. Right, Josh? Press? Yeah. All right. Nice job. The bird is named Ichabod, and Ichabod is a young king vulture. Now, a lot of messy vultures don't have a lot of feathers on their head. This way the sun can bake off any leftovers. Now, it might seem kind of disgusting to us to dine on a carcass, but it's actually really important to the environment. By acting as nature's janitors, vultures help reduce the spread of disease. This year will stick around and help raise the young of the current year. This seems to be the key to their survival in the harsh desert environment.
This is a young American alligator, so he's the same kinds of three on this side. He is real. Yeah, I realize you're on Disney property, but we do have some real things running around here. And even though I say that to people, and I'll stand out here and get this alligator to open his mouth up real wide, occasionally I still have some people that want to believe he's fake. And then right behind the alligator's eye, there's a little black slit there. Okay, kind of looks like he smeared his mascara. Those are the alligator's ears on each side. And they can actually open and close their ears also. So good at what they do, a bird might even land right on their nose. Okay, so all that's just food waiting to happen as far as an alligator is concerned. If you go to the Solomon Islands, you might have a chance of finding them. They're getting more and more rare though, because in the Solomon Islands they're chopping down the trees where they live. They are called a skink, and skinks tend to look a lot like a snake with legs and have real smooth scales like that. And we call them prehensile tail because they use that tail like a monkey does. Okay, so I kind of mentioned already that they live in the trees. Now, they're not very fast-moving lizards, though. We also find in the wild, because they move so slow, they would have a hard time catching up with food that was trying to run away. So they spend their time hunting very slow-moving fruit and flowers and leaves. Okay. Alrighty, this is Alice. Okay, and Alice is a Burmese python. The Burmese python is a reptile you're not likely to find crawling around your backyard anytime soon. But if you spend a lot of time in different pet stores or even in Southeast Asia, you may have seen some of these guys. Okay, a lot of times when I pull out a snake, I hear the term slimy snake pop out of people's mouths. Okay, and that's been a term that's been attached to snake for quite a while, but they're really not all that slimy.
Discovery Island was around 11.5 acres, situated in the middle of Bay Lake. It's not man-made, and before Disney purchased the land, people used to live on it, when it was called Raz Island, after the inhabitants. It's accessible via water taxis, and there is a dock, though the boats these days don't stop there. There are a couple of shows back in 1995, the Parrot's Perch, where you can learn about our feathered friends, and the Reptile Relations, where you could learn, would you believe it, about reptiles. In 1995, admission was around $10.60 for adults and $5.83 for children that were 3 to 9. There were a series of trails around the island, and they took in locations such as Tortoise Beach, Pelican Bay, Flamingo Lagoon, Alligator Swamp, the African Aviary, and the Monkey Colony, to give you an indication of the types of animals and birds that you could encounter. The island added variety to our holiday, a period of relaxation away from the theme parks. Molly loved it. She was really in her element, taking in the various birds and animal experiences. It was quite educational, and it was all delivered with typical Disney polish, a good activity to undertake in half a day. We also enjoyed looking around Wilderness Lodge. The hotel was beautifully themed, and it just added to that overall exploration vibe.
Get with a blanket goes him.
And lemurs.
With a blanket goes him. Over.
Triple Circle D Farm is located in the Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground area. Predominantly a working stable with a great range in thoroughbred horses. It also in 1995 had a petting farm as well, and was an interesting place to go if you had kids.
Okay, you're going to stroke it first. Same.
This is peanut.
Peanut.
Peanut M&Ms.
You're going to go on the back and she'll give you a
Peanut, you're going to be on TV, yes you are.
Yeah.
There we go. Let's start a little more to her right. Hang on really tight and
hold on now.
Back in 1995, I believe this didn't cost us a penny, or $1 I should say, and was a very nice activity. I believe it still exists today.
There's some little goats around here that Molly.
Yeah, he's eating the tea.
Yeah. Oh, I think he likes you, Molly.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Just go stroke him very gently on the head. Oh, he's nice.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye. There's one in the top there.
Go, friend.
Yeah, you have to look from here because you're not allowed in. That's a big cow. Very, very gentle. Don't touch the bottom.
You jump out.
You see the stroke his head. Very careful. Okay, that's. Don't put him in. Don't push him in a corner. Okay, okay. Want us to go, Molly? Look, he just wants us to go. We have to go, Mr. Sheep. There. Oh, he's just letting me out now. Quickly, Molly. The lunch is in there, but they eat it before you can get it out. Oh, he's eating your shirt.
Not sure if that answers whether my taste in shirts has improved or not. The Fort Wilderness Resort also had a number of playgrounds, offering kids the opportunity to climb, swing or slide in a safe environment. Molly fully tested one of these areas, including ensuring that it was indeed safe.
Oh. Oh dear.
Oh, what a night. Who's got bits on her? Who's got bits on her? You hurt yourself? Okay.
In 1995, the Fort Wilderness area of Disney made a fantastic escape away from the theme parks. The Lodge Hotel was superbly themed, and it was nice just to wander around and take in Disney's dream of life in the Northwest Wilderness. You could go round the trails in the resort campground, relax on the beach, or back then you could go out to Discovery Island with its incredible animal encounters and shows. Discovery Island has now been closed for longer than it was open, 25 years.